Undo your childhood causes of low self-worth. In today's video, I want to tell you about one way of improving your self-worth. A low self-worth can come from many things. To keep this video as short as possible, I won't go into the details of how low self-worth develops as much, but instead I want to focus on what you can do if you want to improve your low self-worth. One of the things that's present when we have low self-worth is a tendency to treat ourselves not as well as we treat others, or to say it in a different way. I often see that people with a low self-worth don't treat themselves very nicely. This can come in many formats, of course. It does not have to be that you're actively doing something that's hurting you. It can also be that you're neglecting your own needs. This can be not listening to your needs, or forcing yourself to do things that you don't like. In my head, I just call it not treating yourself very nicely. If you can think of a better word for it, then please let me know. We develop how we behave from either copying others around us, modeling their behavior, or we adopt behaviors based on how others projected to us that we should be treated. Therefore, the way that you treat yourself can be similar to how others treated you in the past, or how you saw others treating themselves. If we had a parent who did not treat themselves nicely, we might model that, or if we had adults around us who did not treat us nicely, or properly for that matter, we might have integrated that into how we treat ourselves. What we learn or integrate when we're younger will often follow us as adults. So even if we're no longer being mistreated or disrespected by adults or shown that we should not prioritize our needs, we can still have the same behavior. This is due to us continuing the behavior that we learned. If we're not mindful to change it, it will likely stick with us. If this behavior is related to low self-worth, such as not treating ourselves very nicely, then low self-worth will persist. As long as the behavior persists, so will the effect on the self-worth. This does not mean that we're broken or that someone broke us though. We might have a lot to say to the adults of our childhood, but this is not the point here. What it means is that we can change our low self-worth by changing how we behave. If we change the behaviors that are upkeeping the low self-worth, then we will start restoring the self-worth. One guide to this that I find helpful is the one that I call Be Your Own Best Parent. This strategy I find is very helpful and efficient if the low self-worth has been built by others misbehaving towards us, or adults in our childhood having had a part of our low self-worth. The way that I explain it to my clients is that it's a bit like starting over. That if they want to have a normal self-worth, they can have it, but that they have to look at what caused it to be not so, and to change that into the opposite. A product of this strategy is often heightened self-respect. And sometimes I can use this word as well when I'm talking about the strategy. The way that you practice the strategy is more all around than specific. It's about how you treat yourself in general. The guide is that you should start treating yourself as if you are your own kid to take care of. That you'll start to fill out the role of your own best parent. Breaking patterns and behavior can often be difficult. In the moments when our automatic behaviors exist, it can be a bit difficult to do something different. This I find that this strategy helps with. It works a bit like something we call triangulation, that instead of you dealing with you, we kind of invent a third party to the mix. Instead of you asking yourself what to do, you ask yourself the question, what would a good parent tell me to do? Often I find that the answers come a bit more easy this way, that the path seems more clear. I've seen many of my clients with low self-worth who are excellent at judging other people's needs and knowing what would be respectful or right for them. This is a way of using that skill on oneself. You set off by thinking about the ideal parent. How would a loving and warm parent treat you? When you're in a situation, when you're in doubt, you'll ask yourself, what would a good parent tell me to do? Not what would I tell myself, but what would a good parent tell me? If we just ask ourselves, we might hear thoughts like, pull yourself together and just hurry up. But when we ask our imaginary parent, we might be able to access thoughts like, this is also a difficult task. If you need to slow down or look at it tomorrow, that's also fine. You can also use it with regards to getting your needs met. Using the good parent strategy can help you have a better compass of how it's okay to treat yourself. You can ask, would a good parent treat me like this? Or, what would a good parent do to me now? If you just ask yourself, you might be okay with not treating yourself very nicely, because that's likely what you're used to. But when you ask the good parent, you might reach the thought that it's time to take a break, eat something, or do something that you like. So try to think in situations where you're usually challenged by maybe not treating yourself the best, try to think about what the good parent would say or tell you to do. This way, you can start treating yourself a bit better overall. And by changing your behaviors, this will lead to an improvement in your self-worth. Just wait and see. To finish this video, I just want to say, this strategy is not about criticizing your parents or putting pressure on parents to be perfect. It's not about parents or dwelling about the past. That is not the point of this. But it is about you starting over and taking charge of yourself and the way that you treat yourself. And using this as a way of approaching it can be helpful. You can of course call it something else than being your own best parent, as long as you stick with the principle of paying attention to securing that your needs are met and respected. I think this is all we had time for. What was your takeaway from today's video? As always, feel free to take away the information that you can use, if any, and leave the rest. Hopefully you found that today's topic made sense and I did not waste your time. Please like and subscribe so my channel can grow. Take care and see you for the next one.